Hey, welcome. This is All Astrology. Today is January 7th, and we're going to talk about Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings. I want to go over the 20-degree Cancer eclipse, which is happening on the 10th. I also want to talk about Uranus going direct on the same day, all right? And then, of course, we've already done a bunch of talking about the major conjunction, which is 2 days later. And folks, those two planets, the major conjunction, Saturn and Pluto, they were conjunct on the 6th of January. So likely in your life, in your chart, you already feel it. You already understand it. Like, oh, wow, that's what that's going to look like. That's where that's going to be. And that's what's going to happen in my life because you've already started feeling it. They became conjunct on the 6th. That would have been yesterday. So for this video, I kind of want to do a little bit more focus on the eclipse and the Uranus going direct. Uranus, anytime a planet has been retrograde, it has to stop and then move forward. Uranus is now moving at a slower than a snail's pace because of the fact that it's going to be going direct. It'll be stationing, I should say. It should be stationing, like standing stationary, on the 10th, depending upon where you live, the 10th or the 11th. But it's pretty much like at 2 degrees and 39 minutes, 36 minutes or something like that. Right now it's 2:39. So all you got to do is know where that is in your chart. But this is, I'm gonna do this one specifically as, like I said, a Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings. Not because it's a Capricorn intense month, which it is. We've got Saturn, we've got Pluto, we've got Jupiter, we've got Mercury, we've got the Sun, we have Sirius, we have Chariklo. I'm going to talk in a little bit about Chariklo as well. All right. So these are the themes for this video. So let's just get right into it. By the way, this will be also a free reading. I'm going to give out a birth date, time, and place. And if you listen to the whole video, it's all going to be relevant for Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings. But I'm also, like I said, going to talk about some of these other things that are going on for all of us in our lives and in our chart. I will be giving out degrees, which means if you have your chart and if you know just a little bit about astrology, you will be able to glean a lot of information and knowledge and be able to apply it for yourself with your own rising sign until your video comes out. So with that, we're moving on to the big 20-degree Cancer. Now, Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings. 20 degrees Cancer pulls up, exactly opposing your Ascendant, your Capricorn Rising. So this is in your 7th house. But where is 20 degrees Cancer? I'm looking at an individual's chart, and their Ascendant is 2 degrees and 37 minutes. Now, I am not using a whole house system. I do when I talk about the rising signs, in so much as that way I can give a generality as to where it will happen in someone's life. But I always tell folks, if you hear degrees, go by the degree. Follow the degree. Because typically Western astrology is you're looking at a chart and it's not a whole house system. So what you want to do is understand that if you're not looking at a whole house system, you got to know the degrees because degrees make all the difference in the world. It makes the difference of, hey, I have Cancer and half of it's in my 6th and the other half is in my 7th. Therefore, you would need a degree to understand which house it's literally going to be in. I just realized my microphone is not on because the cats have been just giving me stress today, trying to eat everything in sight. Taffy came up and chowed. Like one of these disappeared totally, completely. 7th house is your significant one-on-one relationships. So this typically means it's going to be like people who are married, people who are in committed one-on-one relationships, partnerships of some sort. So that could include business partnerships. This could also include anybody that you pay to counsel or that pays you. Anybody that you pay to receive counsel from. Or actually what I just said, or that pays you, like me doing astrology. And if somebody comes and says, hey, I would like a reading, that is seeking a one-on-one counsel. All right, so that would also fall in this area because it's somebody that you relate to in a one-on-one way. And the fact that money exchanges, there's a level of commitment. There's like a contract in a sense, right? I pay, you deliver. So this would all fall into that category. And no sooner do I say these words and Zoe blesses me with her presence again. Okay, Mama, let's just keep moving along here. Come on, she's on my wires though. Hold on. We got to keep it safe for everybody. Okay, Zoe, which means no butt in my face while I'm trying to give a reading. All right, so for Capricorn ascendants, 20 degrees Cancer in your 7th house. This is this is a full moon lunar eclipse. Folks, this lunar eclipse is all about our emotions, but it's, this is a deep emotional thing. It's Cancer. Full moons in general are emotions. That's the moon, but it's in Cancer. So this is emotions that could go back generations. This is emotions that can go back lifetimes. If you're new to astrology, there's different schools of thought that when we talk about the past, it can be my childhood. When we talk about the past, it could be previous lifetimes. So just whatever's comfortable for you, okay? Just figure that out, whatever's comfortable for you. So in other words, if it's this lifetime, this could be your heritage. This could be ancestral emotions because it's family. That's the sign of Cancer. And so it's things dealing with family, things dealing with mother issues, whether that be me being a mom or not being a mom, whether my mother, the way she was a mother or the way she wasn't a mother, whether it was maybe I didn't have a mom in my life, a significant female who was nurturing, right? Or maybe I did and she wasn't that. It's considered like mother issues. But family issues are a big thing here. It's not just specifically mom, but it's family because Cancer represents your tribe, okay? It represents our emotional security. It is our inner world. It is like your sacred inner space. Remember, emotional security and an emotional growth. This is what we're going to be experiencing because this event, when it comes, which if you have a degree at 20 degrees, the event has already occurred. I'm very, very confident in saying that the event would have already occurred for you, but it would have been in this 7th house. So it's going to be people who are probably in your family, people who feel like family, people who you would put in your family bucket, whether they're blood or not, okay? And it could be pulling up past events. I can speak specifically about this actually. I had an event that's already occurred in my family. Cancer is in my 3rd house, the house of siblings, and I have some, and the whole point of that though is that we together had a recent event in our family, and we're still going through it right now where we got news a few days ago, someone in our family had a tragic accident. And unfortunately in our family, we have history of tragedies occurring. And so this is pulling up a lot of that stuff. It's always seems to be involving brain injuries. And that is, I don't know if anybody out there has had to deal with that. I'd love to hear from you if you had, because then you completely and totally understand when it comes to that kind of crap. There's so much gray area that you're in a state of turmoil and uncertainty. And that is really what this is about. It is about destabilizing your emotional world, unfortunately. Now, if you have something squaring it, it would definitely be a negative factor. It would be, I'm so sorry, but the cat, again, has decided to be in absolute control of what I'm doing here. Yes, this is Zoe. Say hello, beautiful, since you insist on making yourself known to the cat kingdom and beyond. So anyway, so this has been, it's pulling up the past. It's pulling up, a lot of past stuff in our family, tragic shit. And other people also in the family are, who may be new to it, but who have married into the family or born into the family are now part of that, now are going to be experiencing another layer to the tragedies and having your inner emotional world turned upside down and inside out, and it's just a horrible place, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. It's a place of major emotional and mental instability. It's not fun at all. But the upside is that we get emotional growth out of this. This is what, I can only chuckle. It's not to make light of it, it's to get through it. All right, so please understand, when you hear G chuckling 99.9% of the time, that is my way of chuckling through something that is totally uncomfortable. And it's like, there are times in life you just don't know how else to get through the shit. You just have to release in some way. And, sometimes giving out an unexplainable laugh is the best way to get through shit. So having this in your 7th house is an event that occurs with somebody in one of those buckets, that I already talked about. Significant one-on-one relationships, okay? This would be opposing Saturn and Pluto, which makes the event usually big. Now, if you don't have any planets in your chart, you may feel like, well, okay, then this means I'm off scot-free. And you could be, and that's wonderful. Found out in all my years was that there were things that would happen and I couldn't find them in my chart. And I'm like, well, this isn't showing proof. This isn't, I can't find this. Problem was I didn't have enough knowledge. That's what I'm realizing right now. Like I didn't have enough knowledge about astrology because even today, like this recent event in our family, I have nothing in Cancer. I have no planets in Cancer. I have no planets in Capricorn. But this event that has occurred, it definitely is stirring up some stuff. And it's not a child of mine, but it's happening to a sibling of mine. It involves a sibling and it involves that sibling's child. And so it's bringing up past history, though, that isn't as far away and as past as I would like for it to be, apparently, at least not in my emotional body. So when we have these events happen, they challenge that, like I said, and they destabilize things. And the whole point of it, though, is to help bring up that stuff, because when it's painful stuff, we tend to bury it. We tend to suppress it because it's too painful to deal with at the time. So what happens is that these other new experiences that come along, they enable us to revisit the past. So I'm going to give you a date. This is going to kind of blow your socks off probably. Think back to the year 2001. If you can remember and if you have a response to this, I would love to hear about it. But think back to the date or the year 2001, January 9th, 2001. We at that time had another North Node lunar eclipse at 20 degrees Cancer, just like the one we're going to experience on the 10th of this year. I mean, isn't that amazing? That's crazy. That's like, oh my God, 19 years ago almost to the day, we had the same thing happen. What happened in your life on that day? If you have something at 20 degrees Cancer, this is going to bring that up. It's going to bring up stuff that hadn't been fully and completely processed, and the whole point is to be able to finish the processing and to grow, to let go, right? First you got to process, then you let go, and then you grow. All right, so let's move on. Let's just get out of this muck. I want to get to the Uranian energy. Uranus is going to be standing still on the same day at 2 degrees and 39 minutes roughly of Taurus. Now, this is a beneficial energy for the other earth signs, right? Because if you're Earth, right, the elements are trining. 2 degrees Taurus is going to trine this chart actually. This chart has a 2 degrees and 37 minute ascendant. Uranus is going to be sending an exact trine. I'm loving this. I love good news. I love to hear positive feedback. I mean, I like the reality too. I want to talk about things that need to be talked about, truth. But at the same time, some shit gets heavy and I'm like, okay, please, yes, great. This is a chart I can talk about. They've got something beneficial coming. Things are going to be moving forward. So 2 degrees Taurus is in your 4th house, Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Risings. A beneficial thing if you have anything in either Virgo or Capricorn between the degrees of 0 and 4, all right? But typically, if it's closer to that 2 degree mark, it's going to be more remarkable, more obvious, a beautiful surprise, because this is Uranus. What is Uranus? It likes to shake shit up. Uranus is that Big Ben alarm clock that goes off and you were having this really nice sleep, and all of a sudden that damn thing goes off and it's quite shocking, it's jolting, and it's usually you throw it against the wall type of thing. That's Uranus, all right? But at the same time, Uranus is just a little bit more than that, actually. Uranus is all about keeping things fresh. Uranus goes in and stirs that pot. Uranus goes in and takes the water and throws the shit out and puts fresh water in. You're dealing with something new, okay? Which is great because typically after a period of time, things begin to crystallize. They stand still. They get stagnant, and that's Taurus completely. Remember, that's the bull standing in the field that just kind of stands there, almost looks dead, except it's standing, so you know it's alive. And every now and then you see the nostrils moving, and you see it go to eat something. But it kind of seems to be just standing still. It gets stagnant. It gets comfortable. That is Taurus. So wherever Taurus is in your chart, it is that area of your life where Uranus is saying, nope, we're going to make this over. It's going to be fresh. We got to shake shit up. We've got to somehow revitalize, right? Something new. Some waves are coming. Get up on the board and ride the waves. That is Uranian energy. Uranus is all about things being innovative. Uranus is new technology, advancements for humanity. Uranus rules the sign of Aquarius. So this is our groups. This is our friendship circles, okay? It is also astrology, folks. Uranus is astrology. I always forget to mention that, so I'm making a big deal out of it right now. Now, I've talked for quite a bit of time. I want to give out a birth time and a birthplace for this chart, okay? Uranus is at 2 degrees, and this person's birth time, date, and place, this person is May 23rd, 1987 at 9:57 p.m. And this is Fort McClellan, Alabama. I used to be really great at pronunciation, believe it or not. And now I read things and I feel like anyway. Fort McClellan, MC, capital Cleellan, Alabama. Okay, I already said the birth time, I believe, 9:57 p.m. You have a 2 degrees, 37-minute Capricorn ascendant. So other Capricorns, if you're listening out there, go get your charts, check them out. If you don't know your stuff, all you got to do is go down below, comment your birth info, and I will take care of you for a while I can. I don't know how long we're going to be doing this. I'm going to see how long I can handle and hang on. I mean, I love doing it, don't get me wrong. I just got to be realistic, though, and kind of, you know, I don't want to make promises I can't keep. So, as of right now, for you, with that birth time, you also have Sirius, which is food, on your ascendant. You also have Neptune at 7 degrees. You also have a buttload of stuff in your first house. You have a lot going on. We all have a lot going on in Capricorn energy. But in general, because there's so much and it's all in your first house, everything about you is changing. So what does all this mean? You know, you had an opposing eclipse not too long ago. You had an eclipse conjunct your ascendant. We had eclipse in December. It was at 4 degrees Capricorn. That's conjunct your ascendant at 237. What does this mean? It means your work and home are changing. It means you're either having a change of job, change of location, and you're moving because of it. That's typically how this works. And so what does that do? Many times that changes not just our home, but it also changes who we are with. Sometimes that changes our relationships. It changes who is now considered our family and who is now no longer considered our family. You're having an eclipse of both of these houses, so the changes are coming. This is what the eclipse is all about. But understand something about an eclipse. Please don't look at the eclipse in a negative way. And I know it's painted that way, especially when I'm kind of delivering the information like it's a warning. Well, I want people to be prepared for changes. Human beings, we typically aren't fans of change. We like things to be the same, things we can count on. We like schedules because that's kind of the side, that's how we've been taught. That's what we've been bred to believe. What I want to do, though, is just keep it real. And that is that this is what our soul came to do. This is what your soul came to do for this lifetime. You agreed that you were to experience certain experiences. That's what living is all about. Yes, Zoe. Come on. Whoa, Zoe. Like, anyway, so I'm going to keep it on. Okay, Kat, they don't want to see all that. Jeez. Find a spot. Keep it cool. Be nice. Just relax. I know you're looking for a lap. So we come to experience these things. And the eclipse is typically, I've heard many people talk about it, but the best way, I think, is that it's a reset point. It's literally when an eclipse occurs, it leaves like this button at that point. So anytime a planet comes around, right, at that point, at that 2 degrees, 37 minutes part, or that 4 degrees on your ascendant, anytime Jupiter came around and Mercury, they all recently touched on this after that eclipse. The sun came around and they touched it. So every time they touch it, they like literally press that button. And what it does is it reinforces the eclipse energy. It gets it going in motion even more. It adds to that eclipse energy. And these eclipse points stay active for many years. Some people like to say things like 6 months, but the truth is an eclipse point stays alive and active equal to the degree of the length of the actual eclipse itself. So find out how long the eclipse lasted. I'm going to be honest with you. I have all these numbers in my brain right now, and I don't even, I can't give you a number because I just would be lying because I'd be making it up. I don't have it in my brain, but I did all these eclipse videos already about that 4 degrees Capricorn eclipse, and I had that information then. But what I can tell you is that find out if the eclipse was like a 1-hour eclipse, a 2-hour eclipse, a 3-hour eclipse, and those hours equal years. How's that? Does that help? It should. All right, so let's go to the next point, which I already touched on a little bit, which was the 20 degrees Cancer. Again, that's in your 7th house. You don't have any planets there, so it might not be a huge thing, but you will feel it if there's anything squaring it, and there is. I hate to say this, but it's what it is, and I got to point it out to you. The eclipse is at 20 degrees Cancer. You have a planet at 21 degrees in Aries. So cardinal will square, right? So if you have something at Libra, if you have something at Aries, my friend, your IC, the cusp of your 4th house, it's called the IC, is at 21 degrees. That means that when this eclipse occurs on the 10th, actually the truth is that means you've already felt this. This is in self, and it's not just in your home, but this is also in your professional work. This is up in your 10th house because your IC is also the same degree as your midheaven. So this is going to be in areas of self and at home. This is going to be areas in work relationships, in my professional work relationships, but committed work relationships, or relationships that you've committed to in some professional way. This is squaring the eclipse. So every time a planet passes over 20 degrees Cancer, it will create tension at home, most definitely at home, because it's conjunct your moon, by the way. You have a 21 degree moon. Your moon is right on your IC. So because your moon is there, it's going to trigger some deeply fiery emotions, by the way, all right? Emotions about self, emotions about family, significant one-on-one relationships, and my home. Deeply emotional. I have, this is what it is. And your Jupiter's right there too, which means Jupiter expands. But the good thing about that is that, I know, right? What's good about Jupiter being on top of an eclipse point and being on top of a square? Jupiter exaggerates. So whatever happens, just realize it's not as bad as it initially appears to be, because that's what Jupiter does. It just exaggerates something, okay? And you'll get a little bit more clarification and truth as time goes on as to what's really going on and to what degree of yuckiness it really is. You have help because the South Node in Capricorn is at 8 degrees. This is conjunct your Neptune at 7 degrees. Neptune gives us a very idealistic view of things. Neptune is beautiful. Neptune is such, it helps us to see things from a higher perspective, to go to our higher self. However, it can also be a little on the delusional side. It's extremely idealistic energy. So idealistic, the shit can never be accomplished in the physical realm. That's the only thing you got to keep check on. Now, that is conjunct your South Node, which, by the way, Jupiter is there right now at this moment. If I didn't give out the date, today is January 7th. We've got Jupiter on top of the South Node, on top of your Neptune. All right, they're all together. So this is all really beautiful. But you might be a little self-delusional right now about things that you are trying to release. Because it's the South Node, it's where we are releasing as a collective. But specifically for you, it's things about yourself that you're releasing, okay? Things about work, what you can do for work maybe? Are you trying to figure that out? Are you trying to plot and organize what you're going to do for work? Because again, the eclipse came and so there's new work involved or a new work location. So there might be some things that you're not being 100% realistic about, okay? That I want you to just keep that in mind. Seek the help of people who have the ability to stay very rational and who can be objective. Because of what's going on, Jupiter on top of your Neptune is adding clouds of delusion and illusion, okay? You do have the benefit of the planet Venus because it's in your 4th house right now at exactly 8 degrees. Actually, your Venus is always there. So Venus is now sending, your Venus and your Neptune are always trining each other, which means Neptune's kind of always helping the area in your home of income where things end up being beautiful. And Neptune always gives us that energy of things that we don't think we need to deal with because we know, because we have such great faith, it's going to work out. It's going to work out in the end anyway, and it's going to be okay. It'll kind of work itself out, kind of one of those things. Now, I agree you have a lot of supportive energy here at this. In the same time, I want you to realize that there may be things you're avoiding, and so you might just want to get some objective opinions and to see what those things are. Okay? Now, I'm going to move on a little bit, and I am going to next go to June. I know I just zapped all the way through the year, and I thought to give you the most bang for, well, you're not spending anything, but to give you something to walk away with, I want to give you some futuristic insight, because what we're discussing now is you're going through right now. What you're going through, or what you will be going through, is June. June 2020, we have 2 eclipses happening. But just as important is that there's a 4-week time span, 4 or 5 week time span, where we're literally going to experience 3 eclipses. And that's like, holy crap, really? Yeah, 3 eclipses. So after this January 10th eclipse, June 5th is the next eclipse. And then we have an eclipse on June 21st. And then we have another eclipse on July 5th. The eclipse I'm going to focus on for you, for this freebie, is the June 21st one, okay? June 21st is happening at 0 degrees Cancer for you. Now, 0 degrees Cancer for you, your chart descendant line, which begins the cusp of your 7th house, is at 237. 0 degrees Cancer literally goes into your 6th house. Your 6th house represents work and health and domestic pets and how you serve in the world, but really how you serve those that are around you in your immediate world, I should say. Now you have Mars at 157 on your descendant, by the way. So this 0 degrees, well, your Mars and that 0 degree mark are going to be conjunct. Mars is my body, okay? Now this eclipse represents the beginning of the beginning. It's a solar eclipse at 0 degrees. 0 degrees is considered like an Aries degrees, because it's the beginning, it's the initiating of something. Not only is it at 0 degrees, but it's in Cancer. Cancer is considered like when the soul takes form into this lifetime. The sign Cancer supposedly represents that. It's like once that baby is born, it's like this Cancer energy. Like Cancer represents the womb. So I'm not saying you're going to be pregnant. I'm not saying you're not. I don't know if you're male or female. I have no clue, and I don't need to know. But what I do know is this is marking the beginning of a beginning for you. And it is in the house of work. It's in the house of health. It's in the house of domestic pets. It's in the sign of Cancer. So it's got something to do with family. And with that, I'm going to leave it there. Hope this helps. Thank you. Bye.